Hello everybody, I'm Ren, and this penultimate video in my How to Make a Character in 13th Age 2e playlist is all about icons. So let's jump into Step 11. Define your icon relationships. The thing about epic heroes is that more often than not, they have a connection to gods, or beings that hold so much influence in their society and culture that they might as well be gods. Sometimes those godly figures are patrons aiding the hero, sometimes they're just there demanding the hero do a task for them, and every now and then they just decide to have beef with the hero because they dislike the hero's vibe. The point is, they are present across epics and they are present in this role-playing game. In 13th Age 2e, Epic Hero Simulator 3000, they manifest as icons. Well, manifest is probably putting it a little strongly. In most circumstances, icons are off-screen characters. They structure and haunt the narrative, shaping it through their influence over others. When you pick your icon, or icons, you are at once choosing what kind of forces will intervene in your adventures, and what themes or concepts you intend for your character to explore through the narrative created by your gameplay. One of those sounds a lot heavier than the other. It's not meant to. You don't have to go into this decision thinking about that. It's just an observable thing that happens. It's a byproduct. Like, if you're tight with the High Druid, then respect for nature is probably a thing that your character will display in some capacity at some point, but it doesn't have to be your whole personality. Picking your icons is a pretty straightforward process, but it's also kind of a lot. You have 3 points that you invest in any of the 12 icons. Each point represents a chance that you will be able to invoke that icon during an arc. Also, you get to decide if that relationship is positive, conflicted, or negative, which you can do some interesting things with. Saying you are an enemy of the Diabolist isn't quite the same thing as saying you are an ally of the Great Gold Wyrm, even though they are basically diametrically opposed. At the start of each arc, you roll a d6 per point. On a roll of a 5 or 6, you get a connection that you can leverage during play. You can use your connection during a narrative moment to sway a situation in your favor, or in a combat moment as an eject button. When you leverage an icon relationship, you basically get partial GM privileges to say how your icon's representatives or powers swoop in to change your circumstances. You just have to roll a d20, risking a twist when you do so. For a narrative intervention, a twist occurs on a roll of 5 or lower. For a combat intervention, a twist occurs on a roll of 10 or lower. A twist won't negate whatever you decided to do, but it will bring consequences into play later. Perhaps you now owe someone something, or maybe you saved an innocent but lost your horses. Now the game, being Epic Hero Simulator 3000, assumes that you are going to be an epic hero, and so has some suggestions to help you keep on track with that. Namely, if you're gonna be a capital G good person, you shouldn't have more than 1 point invested in a positive relationship with an evil icon, and never more than 1 negative relationship with a heroic icon. Other than that, follow your heart, but stay respectful to the theme of your table's campaign, and what sort of stories everyone wants to tell. Icon intervention has the potential to change the trajectory of an entire campaign, even when everyone is on the same page and happy with how the scene played out. Don't set yourself up to make a game-redefining change that wouldn't actually be fun for people, including yourself. With that relatively extensive preamble out of the way, let's do a lightning round for icons. We have the Archmage, the arcane defender of civilization, patron of wizards, engineers, and investigators. He tends to treat the boundaries of reality like a challenge to his authority, with mixed results for everyone. The Crusader, emissary of the dark gods and conqueror of hellholes, patron of any who use the ends justify the means as a mantra to survive. They place the extermination of demonkind first, and the protection of innocence incidental to never. The Diabolist, a herald of chaos and summoner of demonic forces. The Diabolist has no interest in your goals but loves seeing how much you'll sacrifice to get even a whisper of her aid. She came out here to attack people and she is having a great time right now. The Dwarf King, the stern and steadfast ruler of all that is buried and below. Paragon of dwarven kind and inspiration for those who believe in honor and chivalry. His ultimate goal is the reclamation of Underhome, but never at the cost of the dwarven people. The Elf Queen, the ruler of the mystical court of stars. Her love extends to all those who carry even a drop of elven blood. She is the quasi-immortal font of all elven power and wisdom, and she earned the wisdom she dispenses the hard way. The Emperor, he who sits on the dragon throne, a beacon of civilization in the Dragon Empire, patron to the law-abiding and the strong, willing to uphold order. He is a servant to his citizens, living in constant observance of the rights and pacts that unite his people and his allies. The Great Gold Wyrm. He prevented hell on earth by sealing the hole between worlds with his body, then projected his soul out of it to keep fighting. Anyone truly, deeply dedicated to goodness and heroism can call him an ally. He seeks to protect the world from all evils, not just demons, tenacious as they are. The High Druid. The bridge between the primeval powers of the ancient past and this new world of arcane learning. Rangers, trollkin, and any who feel a deep respect for nature are likely to be drawn to the High Druid. She fights to protect the land, not the empire that happens to be on it in this century. The Lich King. Once a tyrant wizard king, he refuses to let death keep him from reclaiming his empire. To his own detriment, the Lich King doesn't do allies or patronage. He has tools and he has enemies. He will take advantage of any lapse in funerary rites to raise soldiers to his cause. The Priestess. The earthly representative for all gods of light. She is a new icon for this new age. Clerics, paladins, and any who use kindness to combat the ills of the world can find support from the Priestess. Some claim her niceties as naivete, but never to her face. The Prince of Shadows. Trickster, thief, liberator, or myth. The Prince of Shadows is an enigmatic figure who shares his luck with assorted sneaks and outcasts, often without telling them. No one is sure of his motives, and most civilians doubt his existence, but his influence is felt by the other icons. The Three. A blue-scaled sorceress, a black-scaled queen of assassins, and a red-scaled destroyer. 3 primordial dragons in uneasy alliance. More often enemies than patrons, the 3 manage to cover a variety of evils, from quiet systematic violence to upfront wholesale slaughter. And that concludes our lightning round for icons. For Topaz, I'm going to put 1 point in a conflicted relationship with the Dwarf King, and 2 points of a positive relationship with the Prince of Shadows. I'll leave you to speculate in the comments why that's the spread, but I will say that after chatting with GM Barry, Topaz is under the impression that she has a much more positive connection with the Dwarf King than the character sheet reflects. That's it for this one. Thanks as always for watching. I hope it was as helpful as intended, and maybe even a little entertaining. The next and final video in this series will be out next week, and will cover an approach to making your character backgrounds. See you there. Until then, keep practicing hope, and don't be afraid to get punk about it.